There'll be a couple of opening statements and then a couple of questions per side. Welcome back. Thank you for coming. I've been really looking forward to this visit. Chancellor Merkel has got a very good grasp of the international issues. She's a clear thinker. She speaks very plainly. And I'm honored that she came to visit. I'm looking forward to taking the Chancellor upstairs to my private residence after this press availability to continue our discussions and to have a dinner. This is a continuation of a personal relationship that is developing. Where we're able to speak in such a way that we can understand what we're trying to say and understand our mutual desire to work together to make this world a peaceful place. The German-U.S. relations are very important. They're just honored you came back. I do want to mention that we did talk about a couple of very important subjects. Obviously, we spent a lot of time on Iran. After all, we're close allies in trying to make sure that the Iranians do not develop a nuclear weapon. We talked about the WTO round, the Doha round for the WTO, and I appreciated the Chancellor's willingness to work with not only the Europeans but with a country like Brazil and others to see if we can't bring this round to a conclusion. This evening I'm going to talk to the Chancellor about Sudan and the progress that's being made in Iraq. We've got a lot to talk about because we're friends and allies, and so I welcome you. Glad you're here.
Ja, danke schön. Ich bin gerne wiedergekommen und glaube, dass wir in den vergangenen Monaten eine gute freundschaftliche Beziehung aufgebaut haben, auch durch eine ganze Zeit von Telefonaten. Und wir haben in der Tat über die Dinge gesprochen, die uns alle bewegen. Und was den Iran anbelangt, ist es so, dass eine völlige Übereinstimmung dazu besteht, dass der Iran auf gar keinen Fall in den Besitz von Kernwaffen kommen darf.
Well, let me say that I'm indeed very pleased to be here, and I am also very gratified to know that over the past few months we have been able to strike up indeed a very, very good rapport, very good relationship, indeed a friendship, and we bolster that friendship also by frequent telephone calls. We've been in constant contact. We addressed a number of issues here today that are of mutual concern. Chief among them is Iran, where we are in total agreement, saying that under no circumstances must Iran be allowed to come into possession of nuclear weapons.
Wir sind uns einig, dass wir diplomatische Lösungen finden müssen, und ich sehe dafür auch eine gute Chance. Allerdings ist klar, dass die Entschlossenheit der internationalen Gemeinschaft mit Geschlossenheit gezeigt werden muss. Das heißt, dass wir alles daran setzen, gemeinsam mit möglichst vielen Partnern auch dem Iran zu zeigen, welche Anforderungen wir an den Iran stellen.
We are in agreement also that a diplomatic solution needs to be found, and we do see good chances for bringing this about. But we also think that it is essential in this context that the clear resolve of the international community is shown by standing united, by showing cohesion on this matter. And what is also essential and indeed crucial in this context is that we try to draw as many partners as possible into the fold to clearly show to the Iranians that this is unacceptable.
Wir sind uns einig, dass wir bei den WTO-Verhandlungen einen Erfolg wollen, und ich habe dem amerikanischen Präsidenten gesagt, dass wir gerade auch den EU-Lateinamerika-Gipfel nutzen wollen, um hier noch einmal in bilateralen Gesprächen deutlich zu machen, dass wir einen Erfolg brauchen und dass alle Länder ihren Beitrag dazu leisten müssen.
We also addressed the issue of the WTO negotiating round, and we said that we want a success of WTO. I explained to the President of the United States that we will use the upcoming EU-Latin American summit in order to get together again with our partners there in bilateral talks and try to impress also on the Latin American countries that it is indeed necessary for all of us to come to a successful outcome here, and that all of these countries need to lend their contribution to bringing that about.
Im weiteren Verlauf des Abends werden wir über andere außenpolitische Themen, aber auch bilaterale sicherlich sprechen, denn ich werde morgen in New York auch einen Akzent für die deutsch-amerikanischen Wirtschaftsbeziehungen setzen, und insgesamt herzlichen Dank für den freundlichen Empfang im Weißen Haus.
And I trust that this evening we're going to continue discussing other important foreign policy issues. We also, I think, have a number of bilateral issues that we would like to discuss over dinner. Also because tomorrow, one of my stops during this trip will be a stop to New York, where I will meet with representatives of the American business community. So German-American business will also be on the agenda there. And in conclusion, let me thank you yet again for the very warm and gracious reception here to the White House.
Deb, hold on a second, one at a time. Deb.
Mr. President, are you satisfied with the Moussaoui verdict? He didn't get the death penalty that the government was seeking. Were you worried that a death sentence might have turned him into a martyr?
Mr. Moussaoui got a fair trial. The jury convicted him to life in prison, where he'll spend the rest of his life. In so doing, they spared his life, which is something that he evidently wasn't willing to do for innocent American citizens. As I think about the trial, I can't help but think about the families who lost a loved one on September the 11th. I think about the rescuers who tried to save lives in the burning buildings. And I know that it's really important for the United States to stay on the offense against these killers, bring them to justice. And those are my thoughts about the Moussaoui trial.
Mr. President, what kind of sanctions should be taken against Iran and when?
That's the kind of question that allies discuss in private. And
you discussed it just this afternoon.
hold on a second. It's very important that the international community send a clear message to the Iranians that a nuclear weapon is unacceptable. We are pleased that the EU3 has taken such a strong role in this measure. It is part of having a unified message. The United States is actively involved with our partners in achieving this important objective. You know, the first important thing that must be done in achieving an issue diplomatically is for everybody to share a goal. And the goal is clear, and that is the Iranians should not have a nuclear weapon or the capacity to make a nuclear weapon. And that in itself is an important diplomatic achievement. The Chancellor and I, of course, obviously agree on that, but so do other partners in this effort, such as the Russians. They agree that the Iranians should not have a nuclear. It's a good starting point. And now we're talking about the tactics as to how to achieve that objective. One such tactic is to go to the United Nations Security Council. And today we laid down a resolution, and we will continue to consult with our partners as to how to achieve a diplomatic solution to this issue. And the timing of resolutions and what they should say and is all what allies do. And we will come to a common agreement as to how to proceed, because this is a common effort. And the Iranians must understand that we won't fold, that our partnership is strong, that for the sake of world peace, they should abandon their nuclear weapons ambitions. And we're resolute on that matter. And so that's what Angela and I talk about. We talk about how to make sure this coalition continues to send a common message. And I appreciate her steadfast and her strength on this issue. Let's see, we got Toby. Yeah.
Eine
Oh, sorry.
Ergänzung noch. Ich glaube, dass es ganz wichtig ist, wenn wir die diplomatischen Bemühungen zum Erfolg führen wollen, dass wir Schritt für Schritt vorgehen. Es ist oft so, dass der Versuch gemacht wird, schon das Ende vorwegzunehmen und den übernächsten Schritt auszusprechen. Und gerade in dem Prozess dieses diplomatischen gemeinsamen Vorgehens ist Schritt für Schritt wichtig. Und jetzt ist genau das auf der Tagesordnung, was wir besprochen haben, nämlich Kapitel 7 Resolution im UN-Sicherheitsrat. Und das müssen wir mit allen Partnern besprechen.
Let me just add one remark. I think in a situation just as the one that we have now, it is crucial, if one wants to see this matter through to a diplomatic success, to actually do this on a step-by-step basis. Quite often, attempts are being made to rush matters, to actually preempt what should be at the end of a process, and to take the over-next step before the next one. And I really do think that on this one, in order to pursue this diplomatic process successfully, we need to pursue this on a step-by-step basis. And I mean, it's happening now. We now have an agenda. What is on the agenda now is looking at this matter under the Chapter 7 of the Security Council resolution. And what we need to do further is discuss what we want to pursue further in this process with all of our partners and try to keep them all together.
Right. Toby.
Madam Chancellor, do you want the United States to talk directly with Iran on this issue? And did you tell that to President Bush today?
Ich möchte, dass wir gemeinsam erfolgreich sind bei dem Bemühen, dem Iran klarzumachen, dass er keine Atomwaffen haben kann, dass er sich an die internationalen Regeln halten muss. Und ich glaube, dass wir da in einer sehr guten Wechselwirkung, das heißt in einem sehr guten Miteinander sind. Und das heißt, dass das, was wir machen, dass das gemeinsam gemacht wird. Aber ich glaube, es ist auch richtig und wichtig, dass Europa hier in diesem Prozess eine sehr starke Rolle spielt. Und deshalb bin ich voll auf der Unterstützung dieses E3-Prozesses, der ganz gemeinsam mit den Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika abgestimmt wird.
What I want is to achieve this together, to be successful in this together in what we are trying to do here, and that is to see to it that Iran is not in possession of a nuclear weapon, persuading them that they will not be allowed to get possession of a nuclear weapon and that they need to abide by international rules. And I think in this overall process we have shown that there is very good interaction between us. What we have been doing, we've been doing together, and we shall continue to do so. And I think it is right in this overall process to say it's important what the European Union has done in this process. They played a very crucial role, and I must say that I'm fully behind the attempts that have been made by the EU3 and together with the United States, because right from the start we have been in on this together, and we shall continue to be so.
Hello.
Mr. President.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice to see you
It's
too.
a face a fella can't forget. Go ahead.
We could talk about this. Seriously. We've learned that you have been talking a lot with Madame Merkel, and you've been on the phone for 6 times. You've seen each other a lot. So how has this relation, German-American relation, developed since she took office? Are we back into partners in leadership? And when are you planning to come to Germany, maybe to the Soccer World Cup?
I'm going to come to Germany before the G8. And am I supposed to say that?
Yes.
Breaking news. Last time I had a press conference with the Chancellor, I did talk about her predecessor, and I had a lot of meetings with her predecessor, and I remember them fondly. And I thought our relations, look, the Iraq War made relations difficult. people, and it's just the government didn't agree, and I understand that. And the chancellor is I wouldn't call it a new chapter in German-U.S. relations, because I did feel we had, we were still writing chapters. But I find the chancellor to be a fascinating person who brings a unique perspective. A lot of us who grew up in the West take our liberties for granted. That freedom is something that just, is prevalent, everywhere. Where it's not prevalent, don't worry about it. Well, I'm talking to a very sophisticated leader who knows what it's like to live in a world that isn't free. And there's just something to me that is intriguing and important to have a partner in peace who brings that kind of perspective, who knows the discomfort of what it means to live under the iron hand of a communist ruler. So our relationship, the way I view the relationship, is it's growing and it's strengthening. Anytime you have a relationship like this, there has to be a certain degree of trust. And you trust the person when they say something. And I appreciate Chancellor Merkel's straightforward judgment. And I hope that I've created a condition where she tells me what's on her mind. And she expresses her beliefs. And I certainly will express mine. And we're able to find common ground, and we do disagree, of course. But the disagreements are always in such a way as to make sure that there's a positive relationship, because we both understand relations between Germany and the United States are important for our respective people, important for the relationships in Europe, for the United States, which enhances the transatlantic relationship. And by working together, we can help solve major problems. And this is a troubled world. We're dealing with Iran. We're dealing with Sudan. And it's very important for diplomacy to work. And it works better when you have a partner in peace, a partner, an ally, with a Germany that understands it can really make a difference in the international community. And so I value this relationship, and I thank her for her friendship, and I'm looking forward to going to Germany again. Thank you all.
Also ich habe den Präsidenten eingeladen, vor dem G8-Gipfel meinen Wahlkreis zu besuchen, dort auch mal ein Stück kennenzulernen von dem, was in den neuen Ländern geschafft wurde, auch Leute kennenzulernen, die wie ich auf der anderen Seite der Mauer gelebt haben, und freue mich auf den Besuch.
Well, to put this in a nutshell, I invited the President to come over before the G8 summit and to visit me in my constituency, simply because I wanted to show him around and show him a little bit of what has been achieved in what we call the new Länder, to get to know also people who, like me, lived on the other side of that wall. And let me say that I'm very much looking forward to his coming over.
Also der G8-Gipfel ist vom 15. bis 17., das heißt 14. wahrscheinlich.
Since the G8 summit, that was a question as to when you would come over. The G8 summit is from the 15th to the 17th, so it will, in all probability, be the day before that, 14th.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I want to keep it somewhat of a mystery. Thank you all.